Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to one of our virtual night sky tours with CTC Astronomer Warren Hart. Hi, Warren.
Hello, hello. Good to see you.
Seems like it's been forever, but yet it's been actually less time than what we usually have between our night sky tours.
That's right. But we're
Well,
looking forward to this one.
yep, yep, and there is a ton of constellations this month. So I'm going
Yes.
to let you take it away.
All right. This month, December, that we're going to be talking about has the most number of constellations for any one of our months. It has 10. So we're going to skip, hop, and jump through all of them. And
Sounds
let's
good.
go, Cindy. First of all, show those who coming on the first time the website that you have there at the library for our astronomy section.
All
There
right.
you go.
This is
This is
our
what you have designed.
Well, and it connects to the Mayborn Science Theater. So if you go here, you've got all the shows, you've got the calendars, you've got astronomy resources, lots of fun things. And this is what we use to go through all of the calendars and constellations with Warren. So,
Yes. And unfortunately, for me, you keep all of the past virtual night sky tours on there, and they can go back and laugh at me for many, many months.
no, that's no, they're amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, let's go to the calendar and let's start through, Cindy.
all righty.
And here is our calendar for December. And of course, we're not quite there yet. But anyway, there you can see the last 4 days of November, the information that I have in there you can read. By the way, everything that Cindy is going to be showing you is in a PDF format, and so you can go and click on it and get it, download it, put it on your printing app that you use, and print it out and keep it for you for reference. So let's go, first of all, let's go to the first day of December, which is Thursday. And the important stuff that I put on is that in 494 days will be our total solar eclipse. As of today, though, it's 511 days for today. And we'll get back to that, Cindy, you have a countdown calendar on there that they can see. And there it is right there on the left. There's time left to event in Killeen, the total solar eclipse. And you see it counting down second by second.
Yep.
Thank you, Cindy. Let's go back. And then also, I put on the first day of the month the information for you on how you can access that astronomy library guide that she just showed you. And there in blue is the link to it. So that's for anyone's reference to get to it at any time. So
Well,
we're going to go ahead.
it's on our library page as well under study guides. If you
Uh,
go all the way down to the bottom of our library page under study guides, lib guides, it's called Astronomy and Mayborn Science Theater. So,
Very good. Thank
mhm.
you. Thank you. Okay. Our first of the 10 constellations we're going to look at is the constellation called Taurus the Bull. Excuse me. And here is Taurus. And if you notice here where he is, and you can scroll up just a little bit there, that's good. Uh, it gives you the information in relation to the other constellations. It's the 12th brightest and the 17th largest in the area in the sky that is devoted to the Taurus the Bull. And that area is what's there in the white area. And then all of the stars and the information that I have included in there. I've added in, if you'll notice, just above the top of the white area for Taurus the Bull is our latitude here at the planetarium. And there you see it at 31.1 degrees north of the equator. So what that means that everything that's along that line there, to see it, you would be looking due east, and you would then look straight up over your head and then down to the west. So that means that we can see all of Taurus the Bull here. The other thing, there's a blue line, dashed line going through. That is the Tropic of Cancer, and that is how far north our sun will go in the summer in June, the 20th. Uh, Therefore, our highlight, and you notice also there is a dark line called the ecliptic. That is the path of the sun and our planets. And there's an intersection over there on the left. And where those two meet, you notice I have there indicated that is where the sun will be at our summer solstice in June. And solstice is a word meaning the sun stands still. And we'll explain that at another time there. But anyway, here are the different stars, and they have numbers beside them. And there's a couple items that have letters beside them. There is a second page for each of the constellations. And if we will clip to that, we'll go down through this neutral page. And there we are. So there are the different uh, stars and the different information about each one of them. And you notice it start 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in letter A, and that is talking about an item called Messier 45, and it's actually the Pleiades. If you look on the line there far over to the right, Pleiades or Pleiades, and it's in Hebrew, it's Kayima, and then in Japanese, it's Subaru. If you have a Subaru car or you happen to see one parked, look at the logo on the car and you will see the stars there. Another name for the Pleiades is the Seven Sisters. Another name that I have given to it because I get asked quite a few times, quite a many times, uh, is that the Little Dipper over there, where they see that? And I say no, that's my teeny dipper. I have four dippers: the teeny dipper, little dipper, big dipper, and the giant dipper. And at the appropriate time, I'll point those out to you. And then it goes on down, so there's all the different stars. I've also included, if you notice, just above the first star, number one, I've indicated if you want to start viewing the constellation, the earliest viewing date looking to the east would be on sunset of November the 20th, and that's the evening that the constellation will start beginning to come up. Each night it will come up 4 minutes earlier. And eventually, if you notice right in the very middle part in between stars 8 and 9 is the midpoint of the constellation. So that is December the 4th, sunset, and then sunrise the next morning on the 5th. And the last that you would be able to watch it would be on sunset of December the 24th, sunrise the 25th. And there is additional information all mentioned down in there for you. So if you want a copy, I would say copy page 1 and page 3 in there, and then you have all of this information. And we can go back to the first page, Cindy, and Just scroll
Getting
her
there.
down all the way.
Getting there.
Yeah, there we go. Good. And what I was saying is the on that first date over at the far right of the whole area where you see the word Cetus, that's another constellation, and then stars 1 and 2. So that evening, that's what you would begin to see. And so every night you would begin 4 minutes earlier and you get another part of the constellation area each night that you would see starting there. But as of course, as time goes on, then you would see it throughout the rest of the night. Okay, so that is Taurus the Bull. And we'll go now back to the calendar to Taurus, and we go down to on to Monday the 5th. And I'm doing this because I have there 490 days to our total solar eclipse. And you say, well, Warren, why do you want that? Well, the eclipse is actually on the 5th of April of 2024. And so I just wanted to recognize that. We go on over to Wednesday the 7th. Our moon is at its full location, and you will see that we did have a total lunar eclipse a few days ago. That was a full moon. And then the last one that I point out on Thursday the 8th, it's 16 months until the total solar eclipse. So I'm just trying to make sure you don't forget, or even me. All right, our second constellation is Selim, the sculptor's chisel, and we're going to see here. And by the way, if you have a problem, well, just leave it right there, Cindy. Thank you. If you have want to know how to pronounce, and every constellation's name is in Latin, and there I've put there for you. So Coelum is the way you would pronounce that Latin there, the sculptor's chisel. And you can see it is just overwhelmed with stars. It's got four. And not a whole lot there on that, but we can scroll real quickly to the second page, and there the information and the same what we have on it as you see there. So uh, this is what I put in for you for each time to help you to get familiar with the sky. Now, let's go back and we'll go down to our third week, and we have our moon at what is called the apogee location. And we notice that I've also indicated it is the fourth farthest of the 13 apogee moons in this for this year. Uh, Apogeal moons there, and there's the distance if you want to measure it. But that's where it is in its orbit for that night on or that time period on Sunday the 11th. Now, on Tuesday the 13th, we have our next constellation, and this is Dorado, and that is Latin for the swordfish. And there you see, and we're now down far enough that you see on the left and right, just outside the box, says a minus 50 degrees and then down a minus 60 degrees. Where we are at the planetarium at 31.1 degrees, we can see as far south to our horizon to 58.9 degrees. Well, if you take 58.9 and add that to our latitude of 31.1, you come up with the number 90. So from directly overhead, where we would be at our planetarium here at 31.1 degrees, we can see 90 degrees to the south. We see 31.1 degrees in the sky, and then there's the equator. We continue on looking south for this additional 58.9 degrees to our southern horizon, and that is as far south as we can see from here. If you want to see further south, you have to go south, and more of the southern hemisphere will be available for you to see. And notice we can only see stars 1, 2, and 3. And down below and inside of there is this gray blob of something. Well, let's find out what that is. So, Cindy, let's go down. We'll go to the third page and we'll find out what is that blob there. And you go down stars one, two, three. Oh, there's an A. A. LMC, abbreviation for the Large Magellanic Cloud, and there's information about it. The Portuguese sailor Ferdinand Magellan, and he was the first one to see and record it in his diary, which we he brought back with him to England after sailing completely around the world there. So that's what that is. That large gray area is another galaxy just like ours. There's also, but not in this constellation area, there's another one called the Small Magellanic Cloud. So there's two of them there in the southern hemisphere that at night, at the right time of the year, you would be able to see them in the sky. So there you have the information on Dorado. Let's go back to the calendar. By the way, as I'm talking, if anyone has a question or a comment, you can text that in or message that in or however you do it and get it to us, and then I'll be notified if there is a question or a comment, and then we'll uh, react to that. Then on Wednesday the 14th, we this is our next virtual night sky tour of what we're doing right now, 12 to 1. And this will be in December. This will be, we'll talk about January uh, there. And I've got down, notice I did not update my date on the calendar. That's my error because that should say January 2023. So that's my goof, my oops there.
Yeah, I
And
just see it now.
yes, good time to see it now. All right,
Okay.
going on to Friday the 16th, there's our third quarter moon. And then we get to the 17th, debatable because I'm not sure in December what the opening days are for the campus. So I will have to check on that. And if you are still wanting to come for the presentation for January, uh, be sure to check the calendar and see if we do have that. And that, I'm sorry, I don't know at the current time. Let's go down to our next week, and we have the sun as it moves. We just put that information in there. It then enters the constellation of Sagittarius. And you notice I gave an additional name to it or adjective there. It is ecliptical. So the Sagittarius is on the ecliptical path of the sun as we would observe throughout the year. And when we say ecliptical, another word should come into mind, ecliptic. And along that path is the only place in the sky where you would see either an eclipse of the moon, which you just observed last week and a half, or a solar eclipse. And that's the where you would look for it. You're not going to look to the north and up there way far up off of the ecliptic, because you saw that what on the first one with Taurus the bull, the furthest north the ecliptic came was there alongside of Taurus the bull. So the sun does not go come up far enough to come over us. That would be up to the Tropic of Cancer. Let's go on. On Monday the 19th, we have Mensa, the Mesa, or a Table Mountain, and it's named there. And so here it is with our drawing. And notice here, do you see where the southern horizon is? It is above all of Mensa, so we would not see any part of it. And here you see the lower part of the large Magellanic Cloud that was there in Dorado, and look over down to the right at the 9 o'clock position, and there is the small Magellanic Cloud, and those are the two galaxies that are visible to the naked eye in the southern hemisphere at night throughout the year that you can see. So that's what we have. And then down on if you go on down to page 3, Cindy, we'll see there's the information and the dates again. I give the dates, but it really doesn't mean anything for us up here because we're not going to see it anyway. But I still went on there because scroll back up to the second page, Cindy. Just scroll up. You notice it's the same thing, but you do not see anything about the southern horizon. And I put in an additional page so that if somebody is at that accesses this information at a different location, a different latitude, further north, further south, whatever it might be, then they don't have cluttering up the page the information about us here at the planetarium for our latitude and our southern horizon. So that's why there's a second page on these. All right, let's go back to the calendar and we will continue along. We're going to have then on the 21st of December, we're going to have the winter solstice, and that's when fall will end and where winter will begin. And we had that. If I wanted to, I could have shown it to you, and that would be that the sun is down at the Tropic of Capricorn, and that's as far south as it goes. But we do have two constellations to look at. The first one, well, let's take a look at is you have Lepus, I believe, is the first one. Lepus is the name of the rabbit or the hare. And there you can see where the Tropic of Capricorn is down below, but we can still see that where the Tropic of Capricorn is. And there is Lepus, and it's again the basic information is on the second page that you can access to it and take a look. Our other constellation, there you go, there's the dates for it. And our other constellation is Orion. And here we have, it shows here for you where Orion is in relation to our latitude. And then also you notice just below and up to the upper right of Orion is the area of Taurus the bull. And there's again the two lines connecting the Tropic of Cancer and the ecliptic, and that's for the summer solstice. And you get there, and now we have there is the equator, there's all the stars and the different pieces of information for Orion. And let's scroll down, if you will, and we'll go down to the third page. One of the things I want to point out, here's again the earliest viewing date, and you would be looking at the far eastern side of the constellation, and that would be December the 12th and the 13th. And then midpoint would be the 22nd, 23rd, and the latest would be down, and that would be into January, the 1st and the 2nd. But leave it right there, Cindy. One of the things that I put on each of the pages, the second or the third page, I have down there, the second item is the bordering constellations for the one that we're talking about here. So we are talking about Orion. And if you start at the 12 o'clock position of the northern border, you will go around bordering Orion these five constellations. So let's scroll back up to the first page, Cindy. Okay, let's see if we can find them. First, we're going to start with Taurus, right directly above at the 12 o'clock position. We're going to go clockwise, and you don't have the borders on here really easy to see on this, but we go down and you notice that Eridanus, the river, is the second one. So we have Taurus, Eridanus, that's the number two. At the feet of Orion is Lepus, the rabbit or the hare. And then going on around, you have Monoceros, we're going to see in just a little bit. No, we're not this month. That's next month, excuse me. Monoceros, that's the unicorn or the rhinoceros, whatever you want to call, however you want to call it. And then you wind up at the top up there with Gemini. The reason I put those bordering constellations in there for every constellation is to encourage you, if there is a constellation, for instance, Orion, that you can readily identify in the sky and you want to go and get more information, there I have listed for you the five bordering constellations. So if you wanted to find out about Taurus, you would go back on the website in the LibGuide and you would find Taurus and print it out. If you wanted to find something about Eridanus, Lepus, Monoceros, Gemini, or even Canis Major there, any other constellation, you can go back to the website, find it, save it, and download it and print it out. Okay, so let's go on and let's go back to the calendar. And next one is Pictor, the painter's easel. And this is also in the southern hemisphere. And we bring that, here it is here. And we can see almost all of it, but not quite. There's a lot of area devoted to Pictor, but as far as we are concerned, for naked eye vision, if you will, there's not a whole lot we would see in that area. And then there's the southern horizon again that points out to us. And if you notice, there's Carina to the left, and that big black circle is Canopus, which is, if I remember right, the second brightest star in the night sky. And we will get that next month. All right, that is Pictor. And the information, of course, is on in this case, on the third page. Let's go
Warren,
back to, go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure.
Why do they, I mean, there's a lot of blank space in a lot of these constellations, but do they consider the white blank space as a constellation, or are just the stars
No,
considered the
the
constellation?
whole area. Notice there I say scroll down just a touch from the top. Bring
Mhm.
down the all three lines there on it. There. Okay. Notice I say it's the 56th brightest, of the 89 and 59th largest of the 89 spherical areas in the sky. There are plenty of stars and objects and things in all of that white area. But I'm just picking out only primarily what we can see with our eyeballs alone. And if you get binoculars or a telescope, you're going to pick out much more.
Oh, okay.
So, and then what that means, anything that moves in along into, as we would look inside a picture, it's considered an object in, and the name we would say it would be Cindy Pictorius.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
But that's a
All
good
right.
question. Yeah, people think, well, it's completely blank up there. No,
Blank.
that's not true. And I'm glad you pointed that out because it's second nature to me to recognize, but I need to make sure everybody understands what all of these areas are done. And the professional astronomers back in 1930-ish, that's when they decided to, we will say, survey the night sky, and they established left, right, up, and down segments of the sky, and that's what they're calling each of those. Uh, it's like you have a complete sky, and you have 89 jigsaw puzzle pieces.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thank
I've
you.
wondered about your blank spaces there for a
Yeah.
while.
No, just my mind. That's it. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so we have Pictor on Thursday the 22nd, and then we go and we have a new moon on the 23rd, and so the orbit number would begin. And I've been debating, and I guess I'll start putting in the orbit number. There was an astronomer a number of years ago wanted to keep track of the orbits, and so he started numbering them. Started with one, of course, and I think we're somewhere around 1600 something. But I'll get that number and begin adding that on. The next thing on Saturday, the 24th, is the moon, and the moon, as it orbits Earth, is a circle, but it's not a perfect round circle. It's an elliptical circle, like an eggshell circle. And so there's a time when it is closest to us. That was that's right now here, the perigee. And Cindy, what is it that we use to remember which is the perigee, apogee? Which one do we need to be concerned about?
It's the perigee because it's perilously close.
Yeah, it's closer to us. And if you
Yes.
scrolled up just enough to have this on the page, go ahead, scroll up. No, the other way.
Up,
The other up.
down.
Yeah, there you go. Hold on. No, back up. Let's get the apogee and the perigee both in there.
Oh,
No, back. Scroll up 11.
11.
Yeah, scroll right. Bring it to the north. Bring it up. Oh, stop, 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 stop.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you notice there's apogee when it's the farthest away. Look at how many miles. Now look at the perigee when it's closer to us, and it's the fourth closest of 14 perigees. Wait a minute. 14, we only have 13 apogees, and the moon goes around what? Once a month, and we got 12 of these? What's going on? Well, we happen that the perigee we look would be is going to be able to be in here for us through the year. These are year totals, not a month. We're going to have 14 perigees. So we had one very close to January the 1st, and we're going to have another one very close, like here, on December the 24th. And the same thing on the apogee. It's going around also, and we will only get one extra apogee rather than just a pure 12. We get 13 apogeal moons there. Okay, good. Let's then scroll down to our last page, last week, and we have our final constellations. We have Columba, and go ahead, it's been called, it's the dove, and many have called it Noah's dove, but from the story in the Bible about the ark. But here we have, and you notice we have the Tropic of Capricorn, and so Columba is that far south. And look down at the bottom on each side of the box, and it says minus 50 degrees. If you remember, we can see clear down to 58.9, so we can see all of Columba. And there it is, Forrest the Dove, and there's the same information that's on the, this one would only have 2 pages because there's nothing on there about in relation to the planetarium. And there's your dates that we see as when you would be able to see it, and Columba, you will be able to see it for earliest, midpoint, and latest viewing. All right. Now let's go back to our week. And the next one is Auriga. So we're going to go from way down south to up north. So Auriga the chariot driver. And let's go there. Auriga the chariot driver. And notice it is north of us in the sky. Directly overhead, there's our planetarium latitude, and so looking to the little to the north, you would see Auriga like that as far as that's drawing. And then down below is Taurus, and there was Gemini, and so you're getting to get oriented into the sky. An interesting thing. Look at the far left of the diagram, the green lines connecting the stars, and look at stars 6, 7, and 8. Notice that look above, the box there it says north with the arrow, and just above it it says 6H. That's the 6th hour of time from the Greenwich Observatory outside of London, England. And that's what, everywhere in the world, that's where the time reference is. And so the line, this is a longitude line, and notice they are getting closer together as you go further north until they all converge at the North Pole in the sky. Now, what this means is here is a third way to find the North Star Polaris. Look at those three. They are virtually in a straight line pointing to the North Pole in the sky. So, what you would do if you wanted, you would take your outside and you can see all of Auriga, and you see those three stars. They are relatively a little dimmer than the others, but you pick them out. You want to measure with your hand the angle from 7 down at the bottom to 8 up at the top. More than likely, you're going to have to stretch out the tip of your little finger and the tip of your thumb. Possible. And you get that. And so you have that angle, and up at star number 8 is going to be your rotation point. So on here, think in your mind now that you have we'll say your little finger tip on number 8 and your thumb tip is on 7. Now swing it, if you will, counterclockwise to the left and round and up until you are directly in line with the as it was before, and you will uh, have another point, and then your thumb becomes the rotation, and then you flip again, and you'll arrive right at Polaris. If you don't want to measure, that's fine, but follow in the sky a line as you mentally draw that's in line with these three stars, and you will wind up at Polaris. So that's one of the three. There's others, but one of the three ways that you can find the North Star in the sky. And that's what Auriga offers for us. Okay, Cindy, let's go back to the calendar and let's see what is left. And we're going to have our last constellation on Thursday, the 29th. We're also way up farther north now, up to Camelopardalis. That's a mouthful, little full. So let's go on to there. And there you see what we have. And while you have it on there, Cindy, good. You see down at the bottom right, there is the name Auriga. You see the dark circle there for I'm losing my memory on that. But anyway, there's the top two stars of those three that I was mentioning to you. And so you see that if you would continue on that line in that direction, keep going, you're going to wind up right next to Polaris. So there's your way to find it. The only thing we have here for Camelopardalis is our northern horizon that you would see, that you can look at. And what that means is everything from the northern horizon on into Polaris is up every night of the year. Inside of that complete circle, you will always be able to see every night of the year. And that's for their northern, uh, what we have is the constellation spherical area that are what we have in there. So scroll down to page number 3 and we'll get the information and I'll get myself straightened out. There it is, the northern circumpolar spherical area. So just scroll down onto there you go. Thank you, Cindy. The northern circumpolar spherical area. Inside that circle, that area, we call it circumpolar, which means around the pole. So everything around the North Pole in the sky and virtually around Polaris is what you will be able to see. And there happens to be a southern circumpolar spherical area. And the difference is that's everything that is below our southern horizon that we will never see unless we go south. Okay, let's go back to the calendar. I believe that's pretty close to it. Now, we have also on that Thursday, the 29th of December, we have our moon at its first quarter position. So we've kind of run through here for our December information. Are there any questions or any comments? And remember, everything that you see, what Cindy has put up here, and she has loaded onto our page, is available for you to access, save it, and print it out. And then you have your own uh, paper that you can refer to at any time that you so desire.
Cool. Alyssa, are there any questions in the comments? No questions at the time. Okay.
Okay.
Well, Warren, this is amazing. And guys, if you want to ever see what is below that southern horizon in the dome at the planetarium, they can rotate it. And then Warren gets a pointer and points out all the cool stars. So make sure that you do both the virtual night sky tours with us and then go into the planetarium so you can get to see it, just in case we have too much light here. Just go out to the fields.
There you go. Go.
Yeah,
That's correct. Yeah. Do not let the sky intimidate you. Find something that you are familiar with. Determine what constellation that is that you happen to be looking at, and then look on it. And when you feel more that you are ready, find out what constellations border that constellation, that area you're looking at, and slowly at your own pace start adding more information to you. Do not let the sky intimidate you. I
that
could
is,
I could tell everyone who is a student, or all of us who were students at one time, the first day you went into the classroom and sat down, and you'd have a class, we'll say, of 20 people or 15 or something. Could you name everybody's name that first day? I would think probably not. But over a period of time, you would begin to learn the names of the rest of your classmates. And that's the same thing when in the night sky. You have, there's your reference point, and then go from there and keep adding at your own pace.
yep, yep. Well, Warren, thank you so much once again for just reminding us to look up.
There you
Always
go.
look up. And it is, guys, even in the city limits, you can, if you just keep staring, you can see these. And it's just amazing. I get all excited when I can recognize one. I'm like, that's the one Warren told me about.
There you go.
And every time I look at the moon now, it's like, let me see, is this thing close? Is this thing far away? Is it waxing? Is it waning?
There you go. Good, 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 good.
Yep,
Paying off.
yep. Well, listen, everyone, before we go, thank you, Warren. Thank you
You're
once
welcome.
again. And before we go, make sure you mark your calendar for a few more events we have at the end of this year. Today we have a Writers Guild meeting at 4:30. It's over at the library, and this is where creative people go. So make sure that you check that out. We also have on Thursday, December the 1st at noon, it'll be a virtual event, one more environmental science event. It's on bird watching, urban wildlife, and Christmas bird count. And that's from Fort Hood's Environmental Science Department. And then we're going to have another virtual night sky tour on December 14th. We are really busy with getting all of our 2023 events on the calendar. And we have some wonderful people lined up for our military history series. We're going to be hearing some great life stories. We're going to be hearing all about different aspects of the military, but through the eyes of people. And so that should be extremely interesting. Then we're also going to have lots of, we have a horse ownership. We have many other events that we're going to be looking at. And so make sure you just keep looking at our events page. Our events page is on our calendar, and we're just, as you can see, we're already starting to line them up. So make sure you continue to watch our virtual events. So, all All right, Warren. Are you excited that we're even closer to the eclipse?
Yes, indeed.
I know you
A
are.
day at a time.
Yep, yep. All righty. Well, everyone, you guys have an awesome, awesome day and week and Thanksgiving break. And we will see you when you get back. So, and bye, Warren. You too. Don't eat too
You
much turkey. We need you to
uh,
do our December night sky tour.
I'll remember.
All
Thank
right.
you. God bless.
Thank you. And Alyssa, if you will take us out. Thank you, Alyssa.